People get ready. This is going to be the Great Bitcoin Flippening series. Gavin Mehl coming right at you. About number 10 or so. And today it's going to be all about like the navigating the ultimate market shift, right? Which is the Satoshi era. We're going to talk today a little bit about the Satoshi lore, things like that. I'm going to go into the space in a second. We'll open it up. It's going to be freaking bomb. Watch. I'm kind of like the kind of guy that likes to just do what I do because this is how I am. I'm all about freedom. I guess I'm kind of a freedom junkie. Freedom advocate junkie. How can I have more freedom? How can I exercise more freedom? I want more. So I became obsessed with the law because I wanted more freedom. I'm sharing the screen right now about this analysis of the Satoshi era coins. Kind of gonna be a good one. But right now we're gonna play a little background music until I can kind of go into the open up. Watch this. What's up? Here we go. It's gonna be the Great Bitcoin Flippening. What's up, y'all? Navigating the ultimate market shift. I'm going on the record, just like I like to do. Today, I'm going to share some freaking inside information. So if you guys are here, you're going to freaking hear about it first before nobody else. So anyways, let's go into Great Bitcoin Flipping today. And I want to talk about some of the badass stuff that's happening right now. Like Satoshi, the Satoshi lore, the Satoshi coins. I want to talk about that and the connection to Craig Wright. I think it's freaking badass with some of the stuff I found. The opportunities. I randomly did this space. I kind of like was chatting with people back and forth on X, and so I was supposed to do it this morning and it was too nice of a day out. So I just couldn't do it, man. It was like sunny and freaking nice and my internet's crap. So I have to like be in a certain place on the Starlink to make my internet work to do a live like this. I could go on the internet in certain places, but I can't do a stream like this unless I'm in a certain place. So here I am. I'm on the rig and we're doing it as it is. Now, one of the things about the massive opportunities I've talked about is AI blockchain connection, and it's for real, dude. I'm not gonna be able to share everything on that because there is like a lot of I would say trade secrets that I'm going to be involved in that I can't share with you guys. But I'm thinking about, I am thinking about doing a token with it, dude, like to allow people to invest into a startup. I'm thinking about that, dude, because like I really it's exciting to me to think about the idea of doing a startup, and then as opposed to going to these angel investors. I got angel investor firms out in the Bay Area. They email me. They're all, dude. They want to just do something. They want to put money into something, and I'm like, nah, I don't know, dude. I like to. I don't really need the money, and it's like I'd rather not take money. I'd rather be in a position where I don't need to take their money. Instead, we do it like community based, and I just say, all right, token offering or something. And a token offering is not the same as what I'm talking about like before with Ethereum they used to do. I'm talking about like an actual share of a company where you're an owner of a company. That's what I'm talking about, doing it legally. So it's a big idea. It could happen though. It can really happen if the opportunity is right. But when I'm doing this, I'm doing it all in. And then if I do it, it's all in, and it's going, I'm not doing it half-ass, like I've been waiting for a freaking, what I would say a unicorn, I've been watching this space for 10 years now. I've been involved, and I've been waiting for a unicorn. I've invested in like in one other company, like in the space that I think is really good. I love it. I think they're going to set things off, but we've been waiting for Rails. That's Lament. But I've been waiting for like the unicorn startup that I could really like push forward. And so I think we're getting close. Here's the bottom line, though. One of the cool things about this Bitcoin stuff, right, and this flippening. Let's see if Casey's on here. Okay, you got your hand up. What's up, dude? Rex Star, talk to me, bro. How you doing, man?
Hey, Gavin, it's great to hear you. Just wanted to let you know that your audio is not good right now. It's
Oh
like you're
no.
too close to the microphone, or it's distorting a little bit.
Okay, hold on. How about now? Testing.
Yeah, that's better there.
I think if I'm like at a 6 inches or so, maybe that's what it is. I got to be about 6 inches away from the mic. Too close.
Yeah, yeah, right there at that volume level when you speak there, it sounds really good.
Nice. Dude, I like a lot of the stuff you've been posting, and you're just like on a freaking roll. Sounds like you're an American.
Yeah, North America, yeah.
Oh, Canada, probably. Okay, cool. So, but you've been on a roll with all your posting, man. What are you using some sort of an AI to do all that post, or do you actually post that stuff, man?
I'm posting it. So I have a free or a non-paid, non-verified X account, and they limit you to, I think it's 50 posts a day. And it took me the better, I don't know, maybe just over a week to post all that archive content I had. So every day it would say basically, upload failed. So I knew that I was at my limit for the day. But I've been in the space since 2011. So I've been archiving things without knowing that, one day I could drop these little nuggets on everyone, and so that's kind of what I've been doing.
Yeah, I mean, there. Okay, so that's where I was wondering. So, like the stuff you have, I've never seen before. So, a lot of it. So you're saying it was archived somewhere. That's why. Because I was like, wait a second. Where's this guy getting this stuff?
Yeah,
Where?
so I mean, I just kind of without any forethought that I would be sharing it one day for, posterity or for just, catching people up on the way things were back then. I just started doing little clips, little snips of what I saw that kind of resonated with me. And the problem or the challenge I have is it's strewn about, you know, a metric F ton of other clippings that I have. So it's a lot of it's not dated and it's out of context. But it's enough to, spur, conversation and maybe a little debate. And, like a couple of things that I put up there, um, a couple of the people in the space were like, hey, we're 99% sure this isn't true. So I just took it down, just so I didn't, disrupt too much of the conversation. But
How about these pictures though? I've never seen these before.
yeah, none of them are AI at all. I can vouch for that.
Huh.
Um,
Those are real. I mean,
like
so did you just
like
search the internet for those?
well, like I said, in my normal day-to-day browsing
Oh, right.
throughout my history, I would just save what resonated with me, what looked cool, or what I thought was poignant. And so it was all kind of random, but yet meaningful in the moment. What pictures or what things did I share that kind of made you think, I've never
Dude,
seen this. Is this maybe
okay.
AI or?
Yeah, let me look at your thread. So it seems like a lot of stuff was deleted. So let me kind of look how you were doing this.
Well, I only removed maybe three pictures out of the whole batch, so it's all still there basically.
Okay, it is. All right. I guess like it shows up. It's weird. It shows up like under replies, I think. It's weird how X works. I'm on your main thread, and then when I now this is an X issue, maybe it's a training issue, but when I go to your thread on your main posts, the first post I see was uh May 15th. Then I see June 18th. I see your pinned post, but other than that, I see June 18th, June 18th, then I see June 16th. Is that correct?
Yeah, X does display things out of order, so
Okay. Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm trying to find all the stuff. Well, this one about Tone Vays I thought was really good. That's an AXA, him pointing to AXFA. That's a good one that you archived.
Yes, that one is pure gold. I've been, like I said, I've got terabytes of just stuff that I've collected over the years, and that particular picture I've been looking for a long time, and I finally found it. And that one tells the story about, if when they say, when Kurt says follow the money, that's a I don't know. That's a nugget right there, So
He's thanking his masters right there for what he's doing. It's a great salute to the masters. Hey masters, thanks for everything. And I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, about that. The guys, I don't know, it makes sense. Why else would he have been so dedicated, having no clue about what Bitcoin is and not even the basic fundamental understanding? I mean, a little bit of an understanding, not a clue. He was a trader I think on Wall Street. Wasn't that true? A financial guy.
I think so. Yeah.
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 And so AXA, this would make complete sense. They brought somebody, brought this guy in to then start infiltrating the Bitcoin, to run the narrative. And he was a major adversary to Craig. If you remember back in some of the
Mhm.
seminars you probably followed, and I watched some of the recordings. Craig would call this guy out. He may not even been there. He was always a name. He was like a known name. It was, Tone Vays. That
Yeah.
guy's name was always come up.
Gavin, you're starting to muffle again.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Tone Vays and Craig have shared the stage at least once for I don't know what event it was, but it was some panel.
Yeah,
Um,
that may have
yeah.
been one that I remember him sharing.
Yeah.
So I've got this clip here. It's from Truth Machine. Now, we have this court case that's going on right now in New York, and my first reaction was it's definitely not involving Craig. But I'm kind of reconsidering that. And before I kind of make my case, what would you care to comment on what your thoughts are? Here's one thing I do not know, and I really 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 need an answer to. It looks like the 80,000 BTC is beyond a reasonable doubt, Craig. That is a very very, and here's my reasoning why. This article that Truth had done shows one, the 80,000 BTC went to a legacy address. Okay, that's pretty unusual. Didn't go to a SegWit address. Two, none of the BSV moved. All right, that's another little conclusion there. Three,
Mhm.
there's this spam detection of the dust protocol that Truth had done an analysis on his article that very few people would care about. And it's something that Craig is passionate about, like the dust recycling to the miners. And Truth breaks it down in detail, the technical side of it. That's three
Yes, and
things.
it's not just any dust amount; it's a very specific dust amount.
Okay. So, and then here's the big aha moment for me. It was like, okay, those are three good things. And then here's the clincher. Now, in Kleiman, there was about 1,200 wall addresses that came forward from shatters. And Craig said in his brief there, well, he wasn't necessarily claiming ownership of all those 1,200. However, inside of that, there's the Tulip wallet addresses, which I think were only about 20. It was very limited. Do you know how many were in the Tulip? Was it like 20, or it was a smaller amount? I don't
I don't
remember.
remember the number of the addresses there.
It was
Um,
smaller. According to this research, Truth did it was a much smaller amount. And here he has this article that he's got, which I'll share. That basically it says, you read the thing. He's talking about. He writes a thing about here about how inside of Kleiman there was finally a quote. This is a quote from an affidavit in the court case. Finally, as part of the Florida proceedings, I was ordered to produce a list of Bitcoin addresses under my control. I did not personally collate this list. The list identified 16,405 mined Bitcoin addresses and disclosed them to the court. Furthermore, the purpose of this list was not to assert ownership over those addresses. It was to comply with the Florida court order requiring disclosure. For the purpose of the Florida court proceedings, Dave's estate, I assumed I was Satoshi. The claim by his estate seeking an interest in the Bitcoin that I own, which I have described here, is significant. And I say no more. So that's like the first part about the 16,000. Now, below that in this post, he goes into discovery. Now,
Now, let me pause you there, Gavin. You're
yeah,
you're really starting to muffle. I don't know if anyone else can hear that muffle, but you're not coming through as clear as you could.
I'm on a freaking first class microphone too. Let me just refresh. Hold on. All right. Is that any better coming at you?
Yeah,
Testing.
yeah, you're crystal clear now. Thank you. Go
All right.
ahead.
Yep.
You're
I
talking
needed
about
a refresh.
discovery.
Sorry about that.
You were
Um,
talking about discovery.
Yeah, okay. The discovery in the climate case. Yeah. So if you inside of a federal case or any really legal case, the parties have the right to discovery. And so what Truth Machine was quoting here was some of the discovery that was done. And it says in his article, then I'll kind of go to the discovery questions. He says, however, some of the addresses involved in the recent movements were not part of this list of thousands addresses. These addresses were part of a much more narrow subset of addresses. They were better known as by both parties to be of Wright's Tulip Trust. For example, all three addresses are found on this narrow list of 26 addresses outlined by plaintiffs in the case. So 26 addresses outlined by the plaintiff about inside the Tulip Trust, three of them. So there's like the conclusion, the summary that I'm trying to make here, building the foundation without you doing all the research is that there were 26 main addresses that Kleiman wanted. He's saying, I want those. And of those 26, three of them moved. Now, that right there was enough for me to say, okay, we're way over the 51% chance that this was Craig Wright. In what's called like a beyond a reasonable doubt theory, like it's beyond now 51% likelihood that it's Craig, that it's moved those 80,000 BTC. So, and that was that was a request from Kleiman to Craig, and he's making the request to Craig, and Craig's responding to that request. So now these coins have moved all at once, and now another weird thing was they all moved all at the same time, almost like in a time lock. It indicates that the coins do not have one single entity that controls them. It makes it much likely to seem that the addresses were by some random addresses. Instead, the movements seem to corroborate Dr. Wright's story about the trust. The movements indicate one person in control, but there's a large number of coins associated with the owner. And it goes into the spam. Oh, and then the notice here by Solomon Brothers. Now, this is the weird part. The Solomon Brothers notice first appeared in 2022. But it wasn't under Solomon Brothers at this time. It was on a legal notice about the from Tulip Trust. And it said here that hereby gives Tulip Trading Limited hereby gives notice that it's the owner of these digital assets, and that, it gives wallet addresses. Well, I'm sorry, it doesn't give, it gives a transaction here. And then it says these are lost or controlled, and they're under the CEO's control, Dr. Craig Wright. And then it just talks about any person, who has a claim to these, raise this claim. It's basically kind of a notice. That's the first time. And then the Solomon Brothers notice comes out 3 years later. So do you think that the Solomon Brothers notice is the same as the 80,000 BTC Rex?
I don't know for sure, but I have a feeling that yes, yes, they are connected. Just by the caliber of what Craig deals in, and the lengths that he has gone and will go. I wouldn't be surprised if that connection is there. But I don't have any more information than you do.
Someone told me today on X that Noah Doe was an alias he used in the military, and they posted some military thing. Do you know about that?
You talking about Kleiman or Craig? I don't know anything about that now.
Who posted that? Let me look here. Someone posted that today to me. Man, I really need an assistant.
But I tell you what, Gavin, like every single day I have these little epiphanies and eureka moments about how overwhelming the, call it anecdotal evidence, that surrounds this whole Bitcoin space. And it has consumed me in the most beautiful way possible. And I just wanted to thank you for being, a channel for that type of energy.
Tell me more.
Like my abundance mindset has totally flipped on. The switch is on. in spite of the horrific things that I can tune into in any moment, um, I know that maybe not within my lifetime, but certainly sometime it's going to happen, that things are really going to start to shift, and it may be painful and confusing for a lot of people, maybe even myself. Maybe I haven't positioned or hedged myself in the best way possible, but damn it, I'm trying. And I'm just super excited about like humanity. And I was just thinking about that exchange you had with Raf, I don't know, maybe a week ago, and he was kind of going down a black pill path about how, I got the impression that it was I don't know, a powerful message of things. And I know that Raf is just trying to give us, you know, his take, and he's doing things for good. But like for me, I kind of took that as like a lower vibration thing in my moment. It was just like my abundance mindset would overcome, the humanity will overcome that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, it does, man. And let me first of all give you a little background here. First of all, like, dude, with Raf, because he has done more for this space than I would say. I'm not, he has been like one of the leaders and innovators, and some of the most like important and badass people. They come to me and they say, Raf pulled me aside at the freaking Anarchapulco event, talked to me till 6 in the morning, convinced me BSV was Bitcoin, Craig Wright was Satoshi, this whole thing, right? I'm like, wow, he did
I've got
that?
the highest level of respect for him. Like he has inspired me in amazing ways, like you have, and he's just has a depth of knowledge, and he's very articulate, and you know, the world needs more rafts, a lot
Big
more
time.
rafts.
Big time. And let me just take a little blame for like with that whole situation because I saw him in the crowd on the space and I was excited to see him and I invited him up and it was impromptu and he obviously wasn't in the right headspace at that time. Um maybe he was tired or he wasn't feeling well because respect to him because everything he's done um everything he's done has been absolutely phenomenal. But I hear your point. It was the vibration was off. Is that what you were kind of saying?
Yeah, yeah, and I kind of sensed that too when you struck up the conversation with him. It was kind of a slow start. You kind of had to, gently kind of coax and pry him a little bit to kind of get into a conversation mode. And it didn't take long before it was like, okay, he's dealing with a lot in this moment, and I was just let him cook, let him share, let him unload. We can handle that, that for him,
Yeah,
so
I mean, I wouldn't give anyone the floor like in a certain vibration if it was way off. If they hadn't if they had no proof of work, you follow me? But
yeah,
because he has such a vast body of proof of work, I'm like, dude. Okay, somebody was texting, I'm like, no, let him talk, man. Let him whatever he wants to. Man, it's
yeah.
it. Go for it. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna.
you handled that whole thing very well.
Thank you. Thank you. He's got nothing but proof of work, in my respect, for what he's done. And somebody, came up. Oh, I think with Neil Oliver the other day. I saw a post about him saying about how he brought more people in than anybody. I mean, agreed, man. He probably has. Um,
Yeah.
but back to this story, and I want to hear more about your mindset because that's really interesting to me. Um, but back to this whole thing about the Solomon Brothers. The other thing about Solomon Brothers, there's a post here, a press release from an article on a Wikipedia. I don't know if it was Wikipedia, but it was on, oh yeah, finance. This is on a post that I made. I'll share this into the thing. And it says here that they're saying it was not Craig Wright. Now, I don't even know what the Solomon Brothers is, but could be a fake clipping from them, but I don't even think they're a real law firm. So they don't really have a lot of credibility to me, but that
Yeah.
was the post. It says Solomon Brothers update. Craig Wright is not our client. It removes, okay. I don't know if that's real, but the other thing is that some other guy here, it says Joe Frobs, Craig's Noah Doe was Craig's alias when he was in Special Forces. Agent 39069. Did you know was he in the Special Forces?
I think so. I don't know a lot about that, but if you could verify that Noah Doe claim, that'd be huge, Gavin.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, let me just kind of frame this on the background. I'm personally not in any way encouraging, nor do I want Craig's comment or his theory or his opinion on any of this. It's too sensitive of information. Okay. So if he hears this, listens to it, great. I'm personally not in any way. I'm actually discouraging anyone going to him. And people have said the same thing. I'm like, I don't think it's appropriate for him to comment or anything. Because if it is him, denying it would be illegal against things. If it isn't him, comment. There's a lot of like legal problems with him even commenting on this situation in a way, in my opinion. So I wouldn't in any way be able to confirm any of that direction, but it would be independent. Maybe somebody in Australia would probably know better. Maybe Joe Frobs is out there and he would know how their special forces systems works. He's quoting a number here.
Yeah. I'll tell you though, Gavin, like I said earlier, like the overwhelming amount of what I'll call anecdotal evidence surrounding Craig and genuine Bitcoin, and the more I'm learning about how to build on Bitcoin, the more that things like the Solomon Brothers and this thing that's going on in New York mean less and less to me. Like I'm already convinced. I'm already like, this is just kind of like the tabloid version of Bitcoin to me. Like,
and I want I want to hear about you just mentioned something that I wanted to hear more about. The first thing you said was before you went into the tabloid stuff, and I just dropped it. What did you say? Something about the pulse of the
just I guess the amount of
pulse of things.
anecdotal evidence that's
Yeah,
around.
yeah. Of what?
Well, just like
I guess what is it? What is the anecdotal evidence that? What is the?
well, I guess maybe Craig Mason could kind of chime in on this. It's just connecting all the dots. Like there's I don't know. There's so many dots that I've connected in my heart and in my head that, like for example, I've went through all of Craig's SSRN documents that he's uploaded, and I've pointed my AI at it, and I've also pointed my AI at his GitHub, and some of the stuff that, well, pretty much everything that I'm learning about those two resources has just like blown my mind what is in there and what if you understand that stuff, or your LLM understands that stuff, you can build anything on Bitcoin. And that's literally what I've been doing for the past 3 days. Like I've maxed out my Claude Max subscription. I've been working with Ryan from Indelible, and
wow.
it's
Wow.
been,
Dude, you're
it's
money,
all there
dude.
for,
Good
it's all
job.
there for the taking. It's all
It's
there for the
there.
taking. And
I
it's
mean,
like,
that's so let me just kind of share like why I talk about some of this stuff. I mean, somebody was giving me a hard time. Oh, talking about this Solomon Brothers stuff. Okay, bro. I get it. Like if you're down where you're at, Rex, and like your knowledge base, you realize like the opportunity is in building apps right now. It's not in following the tabloids. I'm with you, bro. But it can be entertaining. So I want to just make sure that there's nothing wrong with doing a little bit of investigative journalism for entertainment purposes
hmm,
and having a good time. And that's a lot of the stuff that I do because I like to be entertained. And I'm sure a lot of other people do too. Now, when it comes to work, and there's work mode, right? Focus on work, grind, 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 build that stuff. Dude, yes, that's freaking where it's at, bro. But I feel like that, like having a little bit of a balance here is why I talk about some of this stuff. It's
no, I'm here for
entertaining.
it. I enjoy it. I'm here for it all, brother.
Yeah. And the oh man, let me just comment back on this article here. That's, I think it's crazy. Is that so if it's the 80,000, okay, if that was Craig And then he's behind the Solomon. I don't know. There's a chance he's not behind the Solomon Brothers case because of the fact that it was 3 years later on the notice, and that maybe somebody else is getting involved to claim all this stuff. But I don't know, man. There's a whole nother angle about this narrative that I think people are kind of missing, and maybe they're not up to speed yet. And this is a thread that was from a guy. What was his name? He's over there in Colombia, and he was posting to me today. George. Yeah. Okay. So George had made this thing. It's about NAR and DAR. It says network access rules, digital asset recovery. And I'll share this thing. Share. And so, I don't know if anyone knows or really understands. And I made a post. I said you made a store with this. That's really cool. I want to talk more about this. And I'm going to talk about it today. And he says, it's really only about people with millions of dollars. And I'm like, maybe in the long run it is for institutions, but here's the bottom line. Having the network access rules and digital asset recovery is setting things way ahead of everybody else for everyone. There hasn't been any precedent for this yet. Do you know anything about this, Rex? Have you heard about it?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the NAR and the DAR, and you're right. There is no precedent for it. And yeah, I guess the traditional world has not caught up with how to deal with that,
Do you think that if a BTC holder did that procedure, the miners could trigger the BTC, or would it only be BSV?
Ask that one more time.
Okay, let's say that I lost BTC. Could I go and use the network access rules and digital asset recovery, or can I only use BSV?
I don't know the technical answer to that. I really don't. I know for sure BSV has that capability now.
For sure, BSV does.
Right.
Sure.
But I seem to have read something through the grapevine that there's an ability to do that to the other SHA-256 chains, but I don't know. I think that, I would consider that a rumor.
Because my point is if this Noah Doe guy wins that case and gets a court order, and it says, and it's weird, the relief doesn't really say that, that's what he wants, but it would be a multi-step process. But let's just say at the end of the day, he wins the case, and then the judge says, yeah, those coins are yours. He still needs a writ of some kind, but then he would be able to bring that writ potentially over to the NAR and DAR.
Yeah.
To trigger those rules and cause an absolute, that would be, I would be like a Independence Day or whatever the end of the world thing would be. Can you imagine what that would do?
It'd be a black swan. Could this be done, Gavin, in a, I guess, secretive or anonymous way, or at some point, whoever this party is, would they be revealed?
Well, there's an attorney that just appeared. He just went into the case as an amicus curiae, some Mr. Cohen guy for a party. He's not a defendant. He's an amicus curiae, and so we'll see. They're going to have a hearing on bringing him into the case, and then he will then probably want to know who the plaintiff is, because you got two fake companies called ABC and then XYZ, and then a fake name, and then one attorney representing all these fake people. That's quasi against the law in New York from what I've seen. So I imagine he's going to raise that first. Like, hey, who the heck are these people?
Well, then it's like, what you've just said, it's likely that there's more layers to that onion. There's more layers of obfuscation and secrecy and who is behind this. It could be behind trusts and all this other stuff, or seashells type stuff.
It wouldn't be hard, though. Procedurally, to go in there, I would go in there, and then what I would do is, I don't know why you need to do an amicus curiae brief. Personally, I think that I could just go in there as a defendant, as a Doe. Why? I have standing because I'm holding Bitcoin. That's it. I don't need any other reason. I could just go in there and say, I'm a defendant now. I'm answering the complaint, and I want to talk to the plaintiff. Boom. Let's go. Let's have a discussion over there on a live deposition. And then the plaintiff's got to come in there and talk to me right there. Boom. That's how you do it. That's how you go down and put the pedal to the metal. I could do
Right.
that in 5 minutes. I mean, not 5 minutes. It wouldn't take me very long. And then, you'd be in court talking to the plaintiff, find out who it is. It's a sensitive situation. What if it is Craig? I don't know.
Right. And that's what I was thinking. If it was Craig, I mean, would it be better just to kind of
leave it
be an
be.
observer?
Leave it
Yeah,
be.
leave it be. But,
Exactly. Not disturb the whole thing. Because
I think you're wired a little bit like me, Gavin. You want to get in there and find out what's going on for the world.
if it's not for Kleiman and Craig, then it bothers me. That's the only reason. Because I know those are Kleiman and Craig's coins.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, that's not, and I think it's Craig's, according to the ruling. What the IP was, that's his stuff, Tulip Trust stuff. That's all his. So it's rather, it just bothers me a little bit. That's all. The only reason is if it's not him, it bothers me. If it's him, I wouldn't disturb. I'm like, good. But if the guy wins the case, and let's say it is Craig, then what he would do is he would bring it to Switzerland, and he would trigger the network access rules to invoke digital asset recovery to move all those coins, and then create the black swan moment on the whole market.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what that would do? 3 million coins, BTC moving at once. I mean, no, man, that's kind of nuts, So, and people think that's not going to affect them. Oh, this is bullshit. That doesn't matter. Yeah, that's going to affect you. And either you're going to benefit or you're going to suffer. I don't know how it's going to. I'm not sure, but there's going to be effect. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and it's nice to know if there's going to be if there's going to be an earthquake. I'd like to know about it in advance, because I know it's step in the crack.
Right. Give your friends and family a heads up.
Hey, by the way, there's going to be this black swan moment. By the way, it's going. Oh my gosh, that's nuts. And you might want to get on the other side of it. And I actually like spaces like this are like good to discuss. Well, what is that? How do you benefit from that? How do you not get crashed from that? I don't necessarily have the answer, other than I think probably holding BSV is probably the safe bet, because it can't get any worse.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Can't get any worse, right? So it's I think people can just come up, but come on up, bro. Brendan, what's up, bro? I'm sorry if I didn't already approve you. I should have. Maybe I could put you as the co-host, Rex, to look at this, because I didn't see people looking to try to do that. Would that be cool?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Talk to me, Brendan.
Yeah, I just had a question on the NAR and DAR, and very interested about the discussion with Raf as well, because I was in that crypto vigilante, dollar vigilante group, but I've pulled out of it due to what was going on inside of there. Because it looks like Raf at the moment has gone down a completely different path towards this eCash, and I hope he comes to his senses, because I don't really agree with what is going on in terms of the possibilities for that, because it's being talked up as if it's a big BSV equivalent replacement sort of thing, but it just doesn't have any of the tech. But back to the NAR and DAR, I'm not super technically expert, but I did dive deep to look into what it was, because the Mr. X character on the cryptos was absolutely adamant that a backdoor had been put into BSV that enabled some controller of BSV to pinch people's coins if they felt like it. So it's almost like he's claiming that it's the digital currency, central bank digital currency type situation. But my research on it did not come up with that conclusion at all. Rather, what I was concluding was that it was merely an administrative process, a formalisation of an administrative process. If Court X of high enough significance orders that these coins be transferred to somebody else or to this address or whatever, that is just a formal administrative process to give that information to the miners, and then the miners expected to propagate. Obviously, the miners have their free will and would assess whether the court order is legitimate or not. It's just that BSV had a formal process by which such an order can be propagated, whereas all the other cryptos don't have such a formal process. But nonetheless, if a serious court order was issued, as per the BTC thing you're talking about, I don't see why BTC would ultimately be any different to BSV in that regard. And I'm very interested if your conclusions are similar, or maybe a more detailed understanding of what NAR really is in BSV. I'd really appreciate knowing a bit more.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Let me respond to that. First of all, Full Colin Brendan, I'll address you properly. So thank you kindly, Full Colin Brendan. Let me respond to your very eloquent and detailed question about NAR and your insight to it. So first of all, the only thing I can't answer is whether or not it conclusively will be able to be done with BTC. That's the one missing little nuance that I'd have to get a Connor Murray to answer. The legal side of it, though, I can answer right now, and that is there's no back door. People who think
sorry, Gavin.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, just an aside. I've sort of got you on maximum volume here, and I'm struggling to hear you.
Let me
you were
refresh.
muffly earlier,
Hold on.
and coming through much louder.
All right. How about now? I'm
perfect.
Sorry about that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Seems like I got to refresh my mic sometimes. Yeah. So let me talk about the NAR and ultimately the back door that you shared that was a possibility that someone was looking into. The back door would just be if any crypto out there could have a back door if a court order gets involved and then they went to the miners. They could all potentially do that. The only thing that makes this exceptional is you actually have a process in a much more organized manner to where if you can prove the KYC on lost coins, you can prove that you legally own those through a KYC and going to court, and the judge reads it and he sees it, or you have a jury stamp off on it and you get a court order. That's a full-on due process, just like the Noah Doe character is doing. If that happens, that court order can go over to Switzerland under the network access rules and trigger digital asset recovery, which is the miners will send it. See, the network access rules is actually not a centralized system doing this. All they do is send a message to the miners. The miners then, and the nodes, they basically can decide what they want to do. Oh, we don't want to follow that. That's their prerogative. They don't have to, but they can at least get a message saying, hey, we've got a court order here under these rules, and we're sending you a message about what the order says. You can decide if you want to act on it or not. And therefore, there's no backdoor. It's a completely decentralized system where then the miners have to decide, do they want to follow the law or not? They don't. I mean, it's really up to them. Most of the time, I'd say most miners and the nodes are going to follow the law because there are consequences if you don't. So they will probably follow the law. And that's what that message will say. Hey, there's an order. That's the law. You got to follow it. And, and then they move the coins. Yeah. It's a seriously amazing procedure. Full Colin Brendan. Go ahead. You want to respond?
Yeah, you don't need to call me Full Colin. That's just me doing research, and I don't use X very much. But
okay, Brendan.
Several years ago, I was into the colon hyphen bull dust.
I was the very first. I was the very first claimant by Russell J. Gould. Just FYI, his very first one ever. I was the number one. I have an original autograph signature by Russell, and when he wrote my Live Life Claim, I was the very first one he ever did. FYI. So I'm early on this stuff, man. But the only thing is, I went to court on that. It just doesn't work in court, and I believe every single bit of it, to be honest. But the courts and I talked to the judge. I sat in a courtroom with the guy. The judge is like, man, you're 100% right on this. It's just we just aren't trained in that, and it doesn't. Our courts work on the old Babel, other way, and so That's when I was like, okay. But I literally had a man-to-man with these judges, and that's how. Yeah, they just don't follow it here. Yet, maybe
Well,
one
that's
day.
amazing.
Maybe one
It's a
day.
different topic altogether. So
Yeah,
we
go
can
ahead.
talk another.
Another
Um,
topic for another day. Um,
Absolutely, but yeah, that's what I find particularly amazing about the BSV, that this procedure exists, and yeah, that what you describe is what my conclusion is. Very, very, very different to a Ripple, where Mr. Ripple or someone big in Ethereum or whatever can just switch things over if they feel like it. Ultimately, here it's a very formalised and upright process, uh, and I would have thought that even for Monero or something like this, although I'm not sure how they see inside the chain, but I strongly believe with the research I've done that there are ways to figure out what's going on even within Monero, just because not directly through the chain stuff, but just through the computer monitorings and this technology that they seem to
oh,
have
yeah.
to
Let me
see what's going on.
let me just comment on that really quick. If someone's goal is privacy, and that's their ultimate goal, and they want to be a black and white on privacy, Monero is already been proven in court to not be able to not be private. How do we know that? Because a year ago, probably about maybe even 2 years ago now, I had Connor Murray, and maybe it was after that. I mean, it was an expert from UK on digital asset recovery and lost coins, and he talked all about these court cases and these experts that he had, and his whole thing was like bringing the experts in to the court, testifying, saying, yep, I went and did all the research on the coins. Some rich client would pay them on their lost coins, and they would go and find the Monero coins or others, and then they would bring them into court, and then they would trigger them, and it's happened. There are, precedent on that. We know that much. So I had the guy on. He's an expert. People can hire him as an expert witness, and he has all these people that know how to do that. So that was about 2 years ago now. I had him on. I have the recording somewhere on my thing way back, but on my YouTube channel under the town halls somewhere probably. But man, yeah, I know for a fact that he testified. He came in here. I was convinced. I was like, oh wow. So Mac Monero has a back door. Not a back door. It's just they can. It's hard. It's very difficult, but the right expert can find those things. So the best way to have privacy is just by just not doing anything illegal. Trying to follow the law and not pissing people off. The moment you get sued and you do something, then you can get subpoenaed and they could find your records and something could happen. That's called consequences of law. I mean, we need that. If there was no consequences of law, the people would just be rogue. you know so
It's one of the most attractive things for BSV, in my view, because the criminal element is actively de-incentivized to be anywhere near it.
yeah,
Yet
exactly.
the low fees and the mechanisms that are emerging, which have a new address for every transaction, actually delivers an amazing level of privacy, if that's what you want.
Totally, it
Anyway,
does. Yeah.
so yeah, I find that so interesting, and it's just this flippening just
Dude, it
seems
is
to
the
be
flippening. Well,
absolutely
it
inevitable.
is the flippening isn't the flippening the most amazing opportunity? It's exciting. And no, I mean, Rex is like getting it, and ultimately it's like so Rex is saying, well, maybe it's not my lifetime. I mean, maybe not, but I doubt that, because I never thought 3 years ago anything about AI. I resisted it, man. When ChatGPT came out, I was like, no, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't even know what it is. I want nothing to do with it. Like really basic people with no technical knowledge starts coming to me and they're like, oh, this is amazing. Got to try it. Now here we are 3 years later, everything's AI. Everybody's using AI. It's that quick. So I mean, it's not going to be that long before the AIs figure the only way forward is on a atomic UTXO based ledger, the one that's scalable. It's not going to be long, and I'm a little bit concerned, not concerned, but some of the information that I have, I have to hold back because I don't want people like Elon or other smart people. I think that most of the Web 2 companies, they don't want it, so they're going to resist anyways. But there might be other smart people out there, like maybe Elon or others, that are like, no, we want. If they figure it out first, then they're going to beat us to the game. So I think we can do this, man. Um, did you want to chime in? Groove, you're on stage. Go ahead, buddy.
Hey
I
man,
got you.
yeah, appreciate you for bringing me up. I was just enjoying the space, and
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
gonna come up earlier when someone was having issues hearing you speak. I was gonna say I can hear you fine, just so you had another person to kind of give you feedback on that too.
Nice.
But
Thank you.
yeah, but as far as the flipping goes, that's where Ethereum surpasses Bitcoin.
Flippening is when BSV flips BTC.
Okay.
Do you know about that?
No, if you want to tell me about it, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So it's about the aggregated the block rewards to the miners. So they become more profitable to mine BSV than BTC. Because they're on the same, they're both SHA-256. They come from the same origin back from 2008 or 2009, the first block. They come from the same place. And right now, the miners receive more profit by mining BTC. I don't know how much more. I don't follow it every day, but sometimes it's pretty close. But once the aggregated block reward subsidy is higher on BSV because of the transaction throughput, the flipping will happen overnight. It's inevitable. Does that
Yeah, I follow you.
kind of follow me a little bit on that? So imagine this. Right now, BSV is doing, let's say, I don't know, what, 30, I don't know how many transactions it does a day, 100 million transactions in a day or something. It does a lot. Once it gets to, if it's doing 100 million transactions today, once it does a billion transactions in a day or 2 billion, I'm not sure the number, but once there are enough transactions, every single transaction charges a fee in sats. That goes to the miners. The miners who mine that, they get paid. Now all of a sudden they get paid more money to mine. See, when you're a miner, you look at you could pick which chain is more profitable right now. And you say, I'm mining BTC, I get more money for that. Boom, I'm going to pay my power bill. But as soon as that goes up, maybe not a little bit, but significantly more, then the miners switch. Because if anybody thinks that the miners are not in it for profit, they're smoking out of a freaking pipe. Okay? It's not about religion for the miners. Religion does not matter. Okay? It doesn't matter. This is not a cult. It's about business. And so, that's why the flipping will happen. Is just the aggregated block reward becoming the fee becomes more. And then there's so many other reasons why that will happen. I mean, one of the things is this Black Swan moment. Do you know about the Black Swan event that I was talking about earlier with this court case?
I was looking at the article that you posted, and that's my first time hearing about it. But
I mean, so let's just pretend right now that we don't know who Satoshi is, and we'll never know. Okay, so that way we don't go into the political or religious stuff. We don't need to. Let's just say Satoshi, he's upset. He wants his coins and he lost his keys, or he can't find all his keys. So he wants to go and do a court case and stay anonymous and call himself Noah Doe. And he sues everybody. Everybody in the world gives a chance to come into court to claim all of his Satoshi coins. He says, I want my coins. They're mine. And that's just the way it's going to go down. But he lost some of his keys. Maybe for whatever reason. If he wins that court case and he gets all those coins, and then he would go into what's called the Nar-Dar procedure, which is under Switzerland, and then he would move all those BTC and sell them. 3 million BTC. That's a Black Swan moment. Liquidation moment. So that's just another. What's that?
If he's lost his keys, Gavin, wouldn't he have been doing this for BSV, the same coins as well? Thanks.
That's the weird thing, is that if you look at the 80,000, he didn't move the BSV. And that's the weird thing I don't understand, Brendan. And maybe if you or Rex or anybody who's really I'm confused because it's conclusive to me that the 80,000 was Craig. We've already done the research we've done enough research on that to see that the 80,000 BTC was Craig. Why? We talked earlier about how if you look at Truth's article on this, he says, first of all, it was three of the wallets were from the Tulip Trust. That's only 26 wallet addresses. 3 of them from Tulip Trust, that's from the Kleiman case, were moved 3 of 26. That's a pretty high likelihood of success right there to me. If those wallet addresses were from Tulip Trust, from Kleiman, and 3 of those moved, that's pretty darn good. Then remember the Lost character was in this 80,000 BTC inscribed into the thing. The Lost episode, and who was the director or the writer of the Lost? Right? Remember the name of the guy's writer that wrote that Lost series? That was Craig Wright. That was just one little nuance. The other weird thing was the dust thing. Truth found that it left dust when it moved all those coins, and the way it left the dust was specifically important to how Craig had talked about, like this dust procedure before. And then I think the other thing that was super conclusive for me was 80,000. Oh yeah, a couple of things. He never moved the BSV, and then also he sent it to a legacy address. Nobody uses legacy addresses on BTC anymore. It's too expensive. Why would anyone do that? He sent it to a legacy address. That's just too weird. So that's I would say beyond 51%, more likely than not, Craig. But then what does that how does that connect to the Solomon Brothers case? How does that connect? Does anyone know?
My best theory was that it's just Craig trying to do some kind of risk mitigation, because if he just dumped all that coinage on the market, that might have some severe repercussions. So, but you're right, the fingerprints are pretty strong. So would such a risk mitigation strategy even work anyway? I don't know.
I think he did the best risk mitigation strategy of all time by going into Copa and losing. That was definitely smart. If his plan was he wants to get those coins and sell them and dump them, if that was his plan, losing Copa was a smart move for him. He benefited the most by doing that, because now he will never be sued or prosecuted or ever for doing that. Especially if he comes in as this Noah Doe character, there's no way to pin it on him, because if he creates a black swan moment, I think, remember, if you go back to I think it was Satoshi had talked about this before, that Craig was planning on doing that black swan moment back around 2020. He talked about it, and I think he blogged about it. He was like, I'm doing it. But if he's still planning on doing that, I think I'd like to just have notice on it. So I'm going to keep following that court case. And if they win that case, I'll be ready. We'll be talking about it. I just don't want to get dumped on. And when that happens, because Michael Saylor and them, they won't be able to, when the knife's falling so fast, you can't catch a falling knife. How do you catch a falling knife?
Well, this is supposed to be the year for the iceberg, isn't it? Except maybe second thoughts have been had and the strategy's been updated. So it's very interesting anyway.
Dude, why don't you come up and talk to me, Craig? What's up, dude? I haven't heard from you in a while. I missed your shows on the freaking, on the Saturday. You had that cool space ball going around and around, on their thing. That was pretty cool, man. I like that show, so, and that was a lot of fun. I think I'm going to do this. There's some huge opportunity happening right now that is so big in this space that a couple of you know about already, but maybe he's going to come up. You up, Craig?
Hey, Gavin. Can you hear me?
Talk to me.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I got new headphones, and I'm just trying out for the first time now, so I'm glad it's working. But yeah, man, it's very exciting. I appreciate the space. I didn't really, I've seen little bits and pieces of the Noah Doe thing and what's going on there. And so I really appreciate the explanation and all the research you do, because I've been pretty busy lately. I haven't been able to do much of the show. So I'm glad to stay informed. But BSV Twitter, on and off, popping off, extremely, extremely excited. And you said something earlier. Hey, sorry, I got my boys here. I'm talking on the space. Give me a second, okay? And thank you. And so you said something earlier that really, it's something that's been talked about amongst the BSVers. And when the Black Swan event happens and everything goes, everything gets dumped on and no one can sell anything, you said, it can't get any worse for BSV. And we've had this $5 BSV meme for so many years. And literally that's like the worst that can happen. Right. You look at BSV going from $88 to $75 when it first came out, down to $11 now, and that's what is that, like an 80% dump? So it's like, oh no, what are we going to go from an 80% to a 90% all-time BSV dump? That's the worst that can happen, because BSV at $5, that's, what is that, like $100 million market cap? That's so tiny. It's so tiny already. I can't believe how tiny it is. And they're really, it has the entire USP of all of crypto, all of privacy coins, all of a new financial network. It's like every, I don't really know much about SpaceX, but everyone seems to think that it's something really great and has like a lot of potential, which I can see that with Starlink, et cetera, et cetera. But that for telecommunications is like BSV for the financial network of the future, and opens up not just the current financial network, but all of the potential of micropayments and everything else. So it's like this $100 billion market cap. First, I don't know what's Tesla's market cap, like several trillion or something. And so I don't know what that multiple, it's like 10,000x, I think, if I'm doing the math right. And, I'm not saying any price predictions for BSV, but it's like BSV is the one thing that does what all of the crypto market cap actually says they do. And it's all a bunch of, it can't do what they say. It can't make good on it. And everyone hates BSV. And you're so right that Craig losing Copa, I mean, that's some coping. It's supporting just coping, but it really all just checks out, man. So I'm really excited. It's like, I am loving every single day I check the price and it's $11, because I can just keep working and barely paying my bills. But then with a little extra money, I can buy multiple BSVs, which is so crazy to think about, that you're buying extra Bitcoin. So yeah, it's fun. I'm having a great time.
It's fun, I mean, you're really taking good care of your kids there, because I mean, that's, you may not get rich tomorrow with it, but I'm telling you, man, if you got little ones like that, you put it in a trust, you do a time lock or something on that stuff, that will be a very generous thing to do. A time lock
that's
on that BSV for the little ones when they're older.
That's a great idea. Give them 21 BSVs each. That'd be pretty good.
Absolutely.
Time lock till
2055
or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that right there would be a fun little project, and say, you know what?
That would be.
When I'm old or dead, you're going to have this unlock. It's going to do this, and you're going to go to this place at this bank or whatever safety deposit box, and or he could just keep he could, he can have the keys now. He just can't use it until a certain time lock,
Yeah, maybe unlock a little bit every 5 years or something, or maybe a little bit every year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, at 21 of those things in 2055, oh man, I'm liking the sound of that, to be honest. It's
I know, man. I know. And it's really, there was a tweet, I should read it because it's really good, and I'm not going to do it justice, but I think it's what a lot of people are starting to understand now, and have slowly been understanding with Copa and everything else, the price. Oh, it's from Bridget. I'm sure a lot of people follow Bridget. She said, I actually think it's a good thing that the real Bitcoin BSV has had to operate and develop under such hostile conditions. Battle tested creates the true and lasting resilience needed. And I don't know about, I'm sure there's other people here that can probably relate, but in 2017, I had my little stack of BTC, and I thought I was about to be super, super rich in like the next year or something. And then, it all crashed in 2018. But like a lot of BSVers, I sold all my BTC for BSV. And I just said, oh yeah, the market will go up and then BSV will go up and it'll be fine. And so obviously that didn't happen, but it's been a great 8 years almost. Just like that tweet said, becoming more resilient, realizing that riches in the short run are not the goal, understanding economics, finance, what we're really in this for the purpose of. And this is some true deep coping, but it's kind of been a blessing in a way to not get rich in the short run, because it's been fun and I've learned a lot from it. So when that happens, it happens.
I appreciate your humor and being able to humor yourself, because that's exactly what the BTC people are going to say you're doing. But at the same time, it's great to laugh about it. But I'm with you, bro. Like, it is a blessing in a way. It's hardened you, made you stronger. I mean, fear.
Yeah.
No longer live in fear.
Absolutely. And I've realized over the last 8 years that I'm not here to live rich on this earth. So it really doesn't bother me like it used to. And it's good to be on this side of just dealing in reality, even though it's painful. And there's no better vibes than BSV. There's no more nonchalant vibe community than BSV.
Yeah. Speaking of the spiritual connection, I mean, what do you think about this theory that, you have the good versus evil, devil versus Satan. You've got these other connections. We've got Bitcoin versus AI. Think about this. AI, we love using it. However, we've watched the movies or heard the theories that one day it could go rogue and get out of control. In fact, even the US military and the government has talked about how they're concerned about that. So, by chaining down the AI and having a record and controlling it, I mean, it could still kind of go rogue, but we'd know it. We'd be able to control every bit of it on the blockchain. It's the good side. I feel like that's the light side. And now the light side now controls the AI, like the spiritual connection. But this is like a whole nother dimension I think that we're missing that is going to cause this flippening is the AI connection to blockchain. That's already happened. That's past tense. Craig, I mean, I don't know if you know that, but
No.
that's past tense. Yeah, it's past tense. It's already been done. And it's rolling out now. It's rolling out. In fact, Craig has talked about it on his blogs, anchor chain stuff. Anchor chain.
No, I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, anchor chain is the theory. It's on his GitHub, and that's exactly what it is. It's chaining down the AIs, putting them on the ledger, and what the benefit that somebody would get from it is one, unlimited memory from their AI. Right now, the AI has bad memory. He forgets everything if I ask him too many questions, he has no idea what he's doing. He's lost, confused, and there's no record. Two, SHA-256 encryption on your conversations. If I find out that somebody is doing something that would help me in a court case, then I'm going to subpoena their AI company like OpenAI, and I'm going to pull all their information off of that so I can have that and use it in court against them. That doesn't sound too good to me. If I was that guy, I don't like that because they keep all your information over there at OpenAI or any of these places, and it's on file there on your chats. Did you know that?
Oh yeah. I think I may have heard that in one of your previous bases, and it made me careful about what I say.
I mean,
to it.
be careful about what you're saying to the AI because all it takes is a subpoena. It's not really hard, dude. Oh, let me grab Craig Mason's stuff over there with his with his AI. I want to see what he's talking about. Obviously, you did a court case going on, but still, if there was a court case going on, that could happen. And so imagine being able to stop that by getting a SHA-256 encryption. That's what like that anchor chain theory stuff is. That's what that is. It's all honest and you control it. You own it now. No longer is it forfeited. I think that's probably the biggest benefit that BSV could offer right now. That I want that personally really bad. I really want that because I want to be able to own my conversations. I don't want to worry about who's going to sue me and get that later. Not that it's like the theory of like, sure, do you want to just take a shower and leave your door open and let everyone watch you? No, I don't. I like having privacy. No, I'm not doing anything wrong, but I don't care. It's nobody's business,
Totally, man. Yeah. No, that's I feel the same way. But yeah, AI, the AI on, or keeping AI under control or keeping a record of it on Bitcoin, it's the only way I think it can be done is on BSV. I mean, it can only be done on a scalable blockchain, and that's basically only BSV. And that's just one more aspect of any one thing. It's like if you want to do financial infrastructure, only BSV. If you want to keep AI to keep track of itself, it's just BSV. If you want a 21 million set in stone scalable currency, it's only BSV. And but yeah, you mentioned the spiritual aspect of it, and let's see, I had a point about that. Oh yeah, you talked about going, dark to light. It's like God knows everything that goes on. It's all on the record somewhere in heaven, in His infinite wisdom, and BSV. I'm not going to do a good job saying this analogy. In fact, there's a great video that I'll send you or I'll share in the comments that talks about how the original verses of the Bible were very specifically repeated, and you had to make sure it was all accurate. And it was kind of like the original on-chain phenomenon. And they want to be able to do anything and warp anything. Satan likes to warp things. He doesn't create things, he just warps things. And so they want to have their AI, have their system, or do whatever they want. And they want to have, do whatever dirty deeds they want. and have the result they want, but they want to then hide in the darkness. That's how they do it. They thrive in the darkness. And Craig Wright has said many times, they want dark, we want light. And BSV, it's like, I was thinking about this earlier, and there's people don't like Craig Wright, obviously, but there's a lot of biblical references in Bitcoin. He's mentioned that he's a Christian and referenced God a lot in the way he views the world. And the only thing that, or looking at Craig, people sometimes they don't like him, but my concern generally is not if BSV makes it or not. My concern is being right with the Lord. But I kind of get I get a vibe from Craig that it's like the same thing. And so I don't know if this is making any sense, but
well, is humanity going to make it with AI? Is that a concern of yours?
Yeah, yeah, it is. Like I said, my faith is in the Lord, but I feel like BSV is the only thing that's going to keep it accountable. It needs to be on chain, and without that, it's just it can operate in the darkness. Like there's no record. They want anonymity, like Craig has said a million times, because they want criminality. The anonymity thrives in criminality. It's like you said, you can have privacy, but it's like, should we get rid of warrants? Should we get rid of warrants and it should be kept under the adjudication of the court, obviously, and we should reform the courts and get corrupt judges out and all these things. But it's like, there is a reason we have a legal system. And I used to be on the anarchy train, and I get it, but it just doesn't work. And I think it's not how the world is structured and meant to be structured.
Dude,
so
anarchy, when you're young, yeah, it's cool. But then all of a sudden, when you get your window, so I'm in San Francisco, and my freaking window just gets smashed down, and they take all my stuff out of my car, and then I called nobody, the cops won't do anything, and then it happens again, and then my car gets taken and stolen, and then I call the cops, they won't help me, and then an old lady happens the same thing. I'm like, it's anarchy right now in San Francisco. That's life, okay? But I mean, imagine, and that's supposed to be freedom, apparently. That's freedom in right?
Is that San Francisco freedom?
Yeah, that's called freedom. They say do you want more freedom? Live in San Francisco. You just park your car, grab someone's stuff, smash their window, take it, walk away. It's yours. That's called freedom. And the cops there eating a donut, watching the whole thing. That's called freedom. So that's ultimately what anarchy is that right there. Do you want that? Well, maybe if you're a homeless guy, that might be good. But if you have any sort of asset, like, that's not good. No, that's not.
Or if you're like a criminal conspirator who wants to secretly take over society and rent seek from everybody forever and make everybody fight with each other, you also want that, because you don't want to be exposed, because everyone wouldn't be able to walk the street if you were exposed. And that's how they operate. They always operate with all these convoluted systems, hidden behind shell companies, hidden behind talking heads. If you're a BSV, you probably know a lot of this, but it's like, they need darkness. They need trickery and scams and deceit and fraud and lies. That's the only way they get it done. So they don't want a record. You ever had a relationship with someone who is, like dysfunctional and can't get along and kind of lies and manipulates? If you want to, if you were to say, okay, let's get this on the record, let's write this down, let's record our conversation, they always get mad. They don't like it. And it's like, that's the same reason that these people don't want BSV, because they want to operate in the darkness, and BSV, brings light to it. But anyway, Gavin, I got to run, but thanks for having me on. I love the space. I'll keep listening.
Oh man, good job. Thanks a million, Craig. Good job. Let me go on over to, wait, before I want to raise a couple questions here, before I go over. Okay. We got somebody, Mega Q 4547. Interesting. Bitcoin Phoenix, crypto critic, a believer in blockchain technology, a Bitcoin in the spirit of Satoshi Nakamoto mentions. Interesting, dude. Mega Q 4547, dude. Heck yeah. Must be an American. Wow. Bitcoin Phoenix. So there's another theory here, okay, that I'm going to throw out there for you guys if we really want to have some fun. There's a guy in New Zealand. Now, I hate to give his name and give the story away, because I kind of rather just let people go down the rabbit hole themselves, like I did. I've kind of found this and went down my own way. And there's a book that he put out. He was interviewed by, what's his name? That guy Simon Patterson that wrote Hijacking Bitcoin. Anyways, consider this fiction. Okay, first of all, what I'm going to tell you, this is fiction. But he wrote a fiction story about what the conversations might have been like when Satoshi was figuring out the Byzantine generals problem and figuring out the one thing that made Bitcoin different and original from anyone else, which was the double spend, the Byzantine generals problem, and then that elimination of the trusted third party. That's what the big invention was. Everything else was already there in other stuff like eCash and these other inventions that had happened before. Even hash cash. These things had been done, but it was the business solving the Byzantine generals problem, the double spend, and then the elimination of the trusted third party. That was the game changer. And so there's this long ebook on his website that he has, and it's an amazing theoretical fiction, and I would call it fiction because there's no proof ever that it ever happened. But between Craig, and it's not called Craig, you don't read it like it. The name Craig isn't there, but he gives numbers. He says like number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 1 is like number 0. Anyways, I don't know. There's Dave, there's him, which is Phil, and then there's Craig. And he has these back and forth theoretical conversations. They're not actual, it's all fiction. So fiction, it's literally not transcribed from the real record. Everything was destroyed. But it's a really cool theory. And I know Craig has come out and said that was all lies and fraud, and it may have been, but it's an interesting little rabbit hole to hear about the mind of potentially of how they solve that problem, because that's kind of been a weird little nuance, and that like maybe the biggest invention ever of all time, which was the solving of the trusted third party. How do you eliminate the trusted third party? That's never been done. That's like the big breakthrough, and like. What's the eureka moment? I don't know, just something thoughtful. Maybe, Brendan, you're out there in Australia. I thought maybe you might know who that person was, but he's out there in New Zealand somewhere. So, dude, anybody else wanting about Phil or Rex Star? Talk to me. What's up? Oh, Brendan, go ahead. You got your on mic.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know about that one, Gavin. Sorry.
You don't know who that is? Is Phil Wilson was the guy's name? You never heard of him? Okay. What's up? No. Who's Bitcoin Phoenix? You want to unmute? Talk to me. Talk to me, buddy. All right. Rex Star. Is it Rex Star or is it Joe?
You can call me Rex or Rex Star.
I like it. Rex Star is cool, man. I like that name. Very cool. Yeah. So what would you say some of the most, badass archive stuff that you've been pulling up over and people who have been following Rex has been in the space since 2011, and you've been archiving everything, on a USB somewhere, and then now you're just starting to release it. Is that right?
Yes. It takes a lot longer to dig up the stuff that I've archived than it does to share it. Because like I said, I have to kind of sift through years of unsorted material. My plan is to kind of let that material ride for a little while, and I'll start releasing another mother load. And yeah, it's all kind of random. So there's some of the stuff I don't even know the exact dates on. So it's kind of reader beware, and I will try my best to kind of add context to, what was going on there. But
so like Rex, like this picture here of the Titan and Craig and Jimmy, he's there in the middle. So that's like a picture maybe that you found a long time ago. I mean, where would you have gotten that?
A lot of that was from 4chan. That's the what's the financial board on 4chan. Anyway, yeah, 4chan. There's a lot of stuff on the chans that I'm gonna resurrect. That's like, I don't know, nuclear bombs. If I can find a way. If you've ever looked at at a 4chan thread, they're difficult to kind of snapshot and share as a picture. So
I see. So that's why when you find it there, you saved it somehow.
exactly.
Got it. That's why I'd never seen a lot of these. Then you got him again with, oh my gosh, that's a really old one. There's Craig with Calvin in, I don't even know. That looks like that's an early one. And is this a real photo of Craig at this banquet wearing a tuxedo? And then, is that real or is that AI?
Yeah, they're all real. They're all real. I swear they're all real. So
So OG, dude. That's such a great photo. I mean, that's almost unreal. Like, look at where is this guy? Oh, Daniel Kraywitz. You got a Daniel Kraywitz shot here where he's having a speech somewhere. Were you at that? Did you actually take that one? Or was that just a
no, I've not been to really any of the Bitcoin events. Maybe one day.
Daniel Kraywitz, dude? Wow. And you know,
have you seen that video of Kraywitz interviewing Tone Vays?
Yeah, I've seen it. He asked, what does he ask him? He asked him about Bitcoin, right?
Yeah. It's a hilarious video.
And now we've concluded now, I think with beyond a reasonable doubt, that Tone Vays was hired by AXA, which is the Bilderberg Group. Isn't that right? The founder of AXA was the CEO of the Bilderberg Group.
Yeah, there's a Bilderberg connection there.
Yeah. The CEO was the CEO of Bilderberg Group, was the founder of AXA. And that's who Tone Vays is over there worshiping in that picture. Look at, his handler. Dude, what about these old man? I mean, this is some insane stuff. June 9th, you have this one about the storm is upon us, and then this connection with Bitcoin doesn't replace the banks. It is the BIS. Oh, it makes the BIS obsolete. That was Dr. Craig Wright from back in 2019. And then he says, emails from Kleiman. No, I'm not doing this as I think it is going to make me a trillionaire. I'm working to make a system that is fraud resistant, one that does not allow printing of money in fractional reserve banking. No inflation, no Federal Reserve BS. That was an email between Ira and Craig in 2014. Wow. So after Dave died, that's an email from the court case.
So somewhere in my posts there, I shared a.
You cut out. Let me refresh.
Hello?
You cut out for a second. If you could just say that again.
Yeah. Somewhere in my feed there's a couple of Telegram links. One is to, it's kind of like an alternate to the what is it called? The ICU, the MetaNet ICU. There's a lot of old archive stuff there from Craig. Some of it's spicy, some of it's not. And I think there's another one I shared, and it has to do with everything SegWit. So if you find those, join those Telegram groups. And what I want to do is you can point an AI at Telegram groups and scrape everything. So that's on my list to do, and see what I can pull out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. I'm getting a message from Bitcoin Phoenix. He's listening there. He's the one I was asking to come up and speak. Apparently he must not speak English because he's saying, go ahead. Who's that?
Yeah, so I was going to try and, build an entire platform. You know what I'm saying?
Talk to me.
All right, so I have a dog, and he's like 150 pounds. You know what I'm saying?
Big fat dog, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
You know how to recognize it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's on the fucking stream. You know what I'm saying?
Cool. Well, do you have anything about the topic, anything related that we're talking about?
Oh, it depends.
Well, if you do, feel free to raise your hand or chime in.
I mean, I have like 0.0001 interest in Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. It's fucking climbing.
Okay, let me just comment here. If you could mind, if you don't mind, just muting out for a moment, my friend, I'll come back to you. I want to just kind of comment on that. Thank you very much. I want to comment on this this other person who's messaging me all these stuff, all these things. Let me find out how I find it here. So, anyways, there's some threads he's messaging me. I'm gonna have to read him. He's saying that he speaks Polish. I think not English very well. So he's writing to me. But it's some amazing posts apparently on this thread that I have to read. Let me just see if I could find it. DM on my messages here. And he's got a pretty good amount of people that follow him. You know what? Here we go. Will Elon Musk bring this to X? It says. That's one of the posts. The other one is in, oh, I see. It's in another language. Yeah.
Oh, wait. Are you white?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I didn't realize you were white.
White? What is that? What did you think?
Well, I thought I was talking to somebody like me.
Hold on. Getting an echo here for
Yeah.
some reason.
I'm like white, but I got a good tan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Getting an echo. Why am I getting an echo?
FBI.
Sorry, I was getting an echo, dude. My bad. All right. Yeah. So, anyways, he wanted me to share this post about how I can't find that it was creating an echo. There's some badass posts that I wanted to talk about. I'm not seeing it right now. Dude.
I do appreciate the guy with the soundboard.
You like that?
Fuck yeah, man. Burn, 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 burn.
That's actually the X music is all it is. It's when I come into the space, it does that sound. Hold on.
Well, that's okay, man. I can make sounds for you if you want me to and be like, burn, burn, burn. You know what I mean? Dude, I got a song about I wear.
All right, cool. So let me just go ahead and fill back in here on what we're doing. All right, so you're telling me you've been in an armchair this whole time. Okay, yeah, that's Bitcoin Phoenix was who that was, and he was trying to message me, but I'm not able to. It was a little bit too much for me to go through right now on the space live. It looks pretty badass though. No, let me just a couple of other major points that need to be brought out right now as to what's going on with this AI stuff, okay, and blockchain and the opportunity. Now, I did talk about when I first started that I was thinking about doing a token, but it would be the way it would work. It would actually be a share of a company. Now, this is just still in theory, but I'm thinking that as opposed to doing a startup, because I got all these people like angel companies right now that want to do a startup and they just want to invest in something blockchain that I'm involved in. And I'm like, I don't really need the money. I don't really think I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. I'd rather work with the community. If we did something, I'd be like, man, if we had like 100 people, 1,000 people, small, building a company together who are actually in it to win it and actually got massive benefit from it. Okay. That would be interesting to me. And then this is a theory right now that's happening. It's about like defragmenting the entire system where we build something and it connects every single person in the community together, all in through all on chain. I don't know exactly how it's going to be done yet, but someone I know does. And It's being built. Okay. And I'm telling you, man, it's going to connect with AI. It's going to connect with the putting all your conversations on chain in a SHA-256 encryption, and then having unlimited memory. Unlimited memory, basically just exactly like what Craig has talked about on all your conversations. And then if we could just do everything with like the dolphin milk that John Calhoun had, that way I don't have to pay Perplexity. I don't need to pay Grok. I don't need to pay Gemini. I could save hundreds of dollars every single month and just pay when I need the bots and move everything to Claude. That's really something that I really desperately need bad. So that's coming, dude. And if that happens, do you realize how fast Claude grew from nothing? Anthropics became this giant, massive behemoth because they went to enterprise. If we did this, and then we just brought it to enterprise, just a little bit of marketing, bring it right to the enterprise people, it's game over, man. Right now, there is no solution for the enterprise to have. What's the solution? Well, they'll figure it out. No, dude, we need to give them the solution. We got to make them a solution. The solution is AI. How? Well, AI on chain with unlimited memory, SHA-256 encryption, all together. Yeah, that's my thing. I think that's the solution. But, it's I'm talking a little fast on this, and we'll have to talk in riddles because I can't share all the information, but it's dude, it's huge, man. I think this is the biggest opportunity I've ever seen in my life. I think it's the black swan moment I've been waiting for. So, okay, we got somebody new. Lord Harry, talk to me. Talk to me. Anything you want to add? And if you want to hear, I see your post here about well, if you want to unmute, feel free to. I don't like making it a religious show, but because I wouldn't say I'm really religious, even though I was born, Christian and Catholic and everything. But I will say that at this point now, if you really look into the Shroud of Turin, for me, it was a wake up moment. I was in a really bad place with religion over around December. I felt like Christmas time, and I was like, oh my gosh, Christmas again. And I was disappointed in the church, and I was disappointed, and I felt like there'd been so many lies. There was a lie about the language. Once I figured out the language is a lie, and then the courts were a lie, and then everything was a lie. That, man, now the religion's a lie. And now what if the whole scriptures are a lie? And then when I found the Shroud of Turin, all the research from Dr. Jeremiah Johnson, that was just the aha moment that I needed to have, like, my born again moment, dude. And it was like, oh my gosh, this guy actually died from the grave and came back, and they've now proven it that he actually came back from the grave and walked around, and 500 people saw him. It's just the most amazing story. There's no other God that did that, by the way. So just FYI, just kind of a big deal. Craig Mason likes that. So yeah. So anyways, dude, I wanted to just get a little show out there. Rex Star, what else is on your mind? Anything else you want to share? Keep posting all your archives. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I do have some more archive stuff coming. Just be patient, and yeah.
So what do you think about this movie
Go ahead.
with the Titan, dude? Because this Titan of blockchain, one of the plans that I have is with this idea of if we did a token, the token is shares of a company. Now we have to be able to market the shit out of it. How do we do that? Oh, wait a second. We just so happen to have a Hollywood blockbuster movie coming out next year. Oh my gosh. Really? Did you hear about this?
Well, one thing that love him or hate him, that Roger Ver did a good job of is he would give Bitcoin away, and with Bitcoin being so cheap right now, it's easy to hand cash people money, and that's kind of an aha moment for people.
It is. Dude, what about using text money? Text BSV. Have you tried it?
I have not tried it, no.
Oh my gosh, dude. And it's been a minute since I've used it.
Did they start off as text BSV, or did they start off?
They started as text BSV, then the money people bought it, but it's still the same. It's the same exact thing. You either send money, which is stablecoin, or BSV. It's just they changed the name a little bit. I think the website's still the same, textbsv.com and text money. I think they have both. But all it is you get the person's phone number and you send it to them and it's done. And they get a text message. Most people don't have a wallet, is what I'm saying, Rex.
Yeah.
You know, that's the problem. Oh, how do you get
Have
a
you
wallet?
tried it?
Like, oh, I don't know. Like, oh man. Oh, forget it.
Have you
Don't worry
tried it?
about a wallet. Just give me your phone number. Here you go. Boom. Now it's on
Gavin,
their
have you
text
tried it
message
out?
forever. Isn't that, I mean, I think that's the most amazing invention. If you want to get people involved, text them a half a Bitcoin, half BSV. What, $7, $10? It's so cheap. It's a great gift. Text BSV. I think it's text. Is it textmnee.com? Nope, that's not it. Textbsv.com. It's textbsv.com. Yep. And what you do is you go to send and receive BSV instantly. No apps, no signups, just a text message. US, you have to be in the US. That's the only problem. Not for international people. That's why a lot of people haven't done it. They're international. That's the one issue. But it's amazing, dude, for US. You send it to a person and they automatically get a wallet with their text message. And that's a much easier way than, like, Roger would hand them something back in the day at a gym, and that's cool too. But I'd like to keep pushing this forward more with this text BSV thing. I think it's huge, dude. What do you think, Rex?
Yeah, I'll look into it. I don't know if I can get it to work here in Canada, but I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I don't know either if it'll work in Canada. It says US based only. I don't know. It might not work. But if you're in the US or you have a US based phone number, maybe you get a US based phone number. If you did, boom. I don't know. It might work in Canada because you're on the same area codes as we are. So, but I'd like to find out. As a matter of fact, if you tell me, well, I'm not going to do that on the phone call because I don't want to. I think I'd have to get your phone number to do it. I could send. I wonder if that would work. But you share your phone number and everybody would call you. That's probably not a good idea.
Let's not
Don't do that.
Gavin.
No. So, yeah, great post though, man. I love this. I love these posts. Titan the blockchain. Anything else you could find about Calvin? Post it, dude. I got some really, some of his one of his best friends is living out here in the Bay Area, and he tells me all these amazing stories about when they were growing up together and how, the whole 1980s, what it was like in Vancouver. And Vancouver is the hub where a lot of this stuff came from, and it's a Bitcoin hub because of Calvin, dude. He blew Vancouver up in '92 with the Bodog. Do you know about Vancouver? You're a Canadian guy. You have to be out there.
Yeah. I really want to go check out his new community out there in the island.
Yeah, that too. That's not done yet. That's not done. It's going to be a minute before that's done. So, he's going to have the resorts there that you can go, but it's not going to be ready for a while. I don't think it's going to be ready for another 2 years.
That's perfect. That's just enough time for Bitcoin to do its thing.
Exactly. 2 years for that is good for me. But I would be interested in going to Vancouver. Have you been there before? Or are you?
Yeah, I've been there before.
Maybe if I went up to Vancouver and I did a meetup up there, because I want to go, I want to get access. I want to go check that place out because I want to call these people. Like his buddy is there or is from there. Calvin's from there. I want to go up there. I may go up there and do a like a meetup. I think I'm going to go to Houston next month, dude. If people are going to be, next month I'll go to Houston. I might even be down there for a minute. So I might host an event or something if I'm down there. It'd be cool. Nobody's ever done an event in Houston, but I think I might, go check this place out. And I want to go to Vancouver too. But speaking of Vancouver, so yeah, this guy lives out here. He's best friends with Calvin growing up, and he's telling all these stories about '92 and the whole starting of broadband and how this whole thing started with Bodog. And oh my gosh, dude, He saved Bitcoin, by the way. I'm just telling you, he's the one that saved Bitcoin, along with Craig. He really did. He stood up for everybody, he backed everybody. He never backed down, man. It's funny. I don't
Yeah.
even know Calvin at all. I've never met him. You know that? Never met him. Never met him.
That seems like a pretty cool guy. Hey,
He
Gavin,
does.
I gotta let you go. I'm gonna be on just listening mode for a little while.
All right, no problem. I'm ready to wrap anyways, y'all. I got shit to do. So it's great to chime in with you guys. Great Bitcoin flippening. I know more about the original Bitcoin is what Bitcoin Phoenix is telling me right now on a message here. I mean, I'd love to hear more, from you, my man. And I can please read my post in the free time. I know more about the original Bitcoin than a lot of other people. Yeah, I'll come back when I fix my mic. Okay, yeah, your mic isn't working. Bitcoin Phoenix. I would love to have you come back up when you fix your mic. Let's do it again when you do. Oh, you do speak English very well. Okay, great. Oh, you said in the last 4 years you've lived in the USA and you met Craig in London. Nice. Oh yeah, here's all the books too. If you guys haven't been following it, Satoshi's Vision, Hijacking Bitcoin, Hero Villain, Bit and Coin by the brilliant scientist Ziming Gao, who I've met personally. He's such a genius attorney, patent attorney, and also a scientist. This guy's just an absolute G. Testified in the Copa case, Bit and Coin. These are just all books that you could read, and then you put my book on there. I'm going to do a book as well about that I want to get done with. That's not done yet. That's going to be about more of an entertaining side, like killing Satoshi narrative, dude. That's right. So, all right, everybody, it's been great. Bitcoin Flippening show. I'm glad, appreciate everybody tuning in, and a lot more to come, dude. It's going to be freaking on. I've never been more excited and pumped. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. That's all I got. I'm done. I will see you at the very, very top. Later. I'm out.